So welcome guys to another money space with me, Kalu Aja. Of course, on this space, we're talking money, the economy, and of course, finance. We are here every weekend, Sunday, 7 p.m. West African time, where we take those finance topics and they'll make it easy for you. This week and going forward for every week in the month, right? Like 1 week in a month, we're going to be talking about our wealth series. So we've defined wealth. It's an acronym I have to allow us have a topic where folks can come in with questions, can ask those questions, and then get replies. Just basic stuff. Because one thing that the tax debate has taught me, I think I knew this earlier, was there's just a big gulf in Nigeria around personal finance. What we think is normal and that everyone knows, not a lot of people know it or understand it. So there's a lot of knowledge gaps out there that we want to try to fill. So we want to have at least one of these spaces, one week in a month, where we're just talking around personal finance. That's going to be assets, liabilities, debts, taxes, all that stuff that is we're hearing about and it's all new to us. Look at the tax report that just come out. Nothing really new, really. If you live, say, in America in the West, nothing they are saying is really new. But in Nigeria, it's a whole, it's a lot of questions. Am I going to pay tax if I earn money on this? Will I pay tax if I earn money on that? So you can see there's a lot of knowledge gap. So this week is going to be for you guys to ask questions, and I'm going to try to answer them right, or at least give direction. So just a disclaimer up front, I'm not a professional advisor. I'm not holding myself out as your advisor. My job is just to educate, and I hope you guys will go back to your advisor. I'll ask this question. Chilotalo, let's start with you. What's up? Thanks for being the first in here. And guys, in the forum, send me a DM. I will, of course, take those questions. Chilotalo, you got the floor. Go ahead. What's up?
Okay. Okay, so I can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. Thank you.
Okay, so I actually don't have any question. I'm just here to listen.
Okay, perfect. If you put the speaker, that means you want to speak, right? So that way they're gonna ask you if you have a question, right? All right, that's not a problem. I already have the questions on DM, and the first question is this, and I knew it was gonna be on the tax policy. So I was asking Kalu, if I earn money from if I do betting, in essence asking if he gets money through bet, is he going to be taxed? So whenever I see these tax questions, it's always about will this be taxed, will that be taxed, and all that. And I think perhaps we're approaching the wrong way. The tax scheme is a very, very, very simple thing to understand. Any income, all income, any income is going to be liable to taxation. Any income. They define the income down to say crypto. If your partner gives you ~1,000,000 naira, is that income? Kinda, unless you say it's a gift, unless you are very, very clear and you label it a gift, If you had that's an inheritance, that's not income. But literally any income you get, they're going to tax it. What do they tax is what we should focus on, not if the income. Don't focus on the income, right? Try to focus on what we call your taxable income, which means you have your total income you earn, then you have your deductibles, then you have your net income. So rather than asking, will they tax this income? Will they tax this income? Focus on what you can control. You can't control the tax model, but you can control your deductibles, which means you can go in and say, I'm going to buy life insurance. I'm going to open an RSA account. I'm going to buy NHIS, National Health Insurance Scheme. And as you do all that, you are reducing your tax liability. You can control your tax liability. You cannot control what the taxman can do to you. And remember, I've talked about this in this particular scheme. With these taxes, they move the burden to you, which means that in the old scheme, once you got paid on your paycheck, you got an automatic 20% tax break from Nigerian tax authorities. You got 20% of your payroll as a tax break. So if you earn ~1,000,000 naira, you automatically got 200,000 naira tax break. You don't have to do anything. That's why many times your employer files for you because you get that 200,000. Now in this new tax law, they've changed it around a bit. In this instance, once you get your income, If you do not take any deduction, you're going to pay more taxes. You've got to go out of your way to buy and I'm going to list the 5 things you have to buy. You've got to either buy your retirement savings account, i.e., you contribute to a retirement savings account. Remember, that is with your additional voluntary. So the retirement savings account is 18%. So another point we're going to make is 18% of your pension, of your basic, your housing, and your allowance. So if you are earning income and your boss just gives you a check of 100,000, try to break it down into basic, housing, and transportation, so you can then pay your retirement savings account portion to reduce your total income. Very important. So you want to do your basic, housing, and transport, so that way you can get out your deductions from that basic, housing, and transport, and then pay to your retirement savings account. Whatever you pay to your retirement savings account is not taxed. That's how you reduce your taxable income. That's number one, retirement savings account. The second one is, if you're married, you can pay life insurance. You can buy life insurance for yourself and also for your wife. The premiums you pay are tax deductible. So if you want to buy, say, a 10 million naira policy and it asks you to pay 100,000 naira as the premium, that 100,000 naira, you deduct it from your paycheck as well, right? So that's also reducing your taxable income. You have NHIS, National Health Insurance Scheme. You have National Housing Fund. Those two also are out there. The mandatory payments you make are deductible from your total income as well. Also, if you also you're buying a house, you're paying a mortgage to the bank. What you pay as a mortgage, you also deduct from your income. So let me just summarize again. Your retirement savings account, number one. If you pay life insurance premiums for you and your spouse, you also get a deduction on that. Number three, you have the NHIS, National Health Insurance Scheme. You also have the National Housing Fund. You contribute to those two, you also get a deduction on what you contribute. Then if you buy in a house, right, and you're paying interest, the interest that you're paying on that loan you took to buy that house, you also get a deduction on that as well. Remember, the rent is 20% of whatever you pay as rent, capped as 500,000. So if you pay rent, you can take as high as 500,000. So if you pay rent to your landlord, make sure you get a receipt. Get a receipt, file that receipt, and of course, when you then file your taxes, whatever you pay as rent, you can take 20% of that, and then you can cap it at 500,000, and that also goes off your taxable income. So focus, guys, on the taxable income. That's where you can get around this. Don't focus too much on what is my income, what will they tax, and all that. Those things you can't change. Even if you have a tax advisor, you really can't go in and change what your income is, and it's difficult for you to change behavior. But your taxable income, the deductions, is what you can control and what you can change. Facts. Welcome to our space. We are talking on this space, wealth. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I wanted to. Are you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I wanted to ask now. You said money we remove for our retirement savings, that's non-taxable, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, so what if along the line now I want to use the money which I set aside for the retirement account now?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to look for something else. So what happens in that instance?
Good question. But your retirement savings account is your bottom box account. That's what you get only when you retire or when you lose your job. You can't touch it's called a retirement savings account. That means that when you have it, you can't touch it. When you retire, because you can no longer work, then the government will give it to you. So in the government gives it to you tax-free. You put the money in, they don't tax the growth. When you take it out, it's yours to use, right? So it's not a savings account. It's not. It's not a savings account. It's something you put money aside for your later years, right? There's no retirement age. They just simply say when you retire, so when you're no longer working, you can then go to your pension fund administrator and say, hey, I've retired. You give them your paperwork. They are able to give you what you have then contributed all this while for yours. If you lose your job, you can get, I believe it's 25% of the money in your retirement savings account. I think you can get that 25%. I think they've increased it, but I'm not sure. But I believe if you lose your job, you can apply to them. If you stayed unemployed for 6 months, you can apply to them and they give you some part of it. And also, if you want to buy a house, you can also go to the retirement savings account, and then you can also say that you want to use that part of that money. I think it's 25% towards the payment of a house. So you can also get your house you can also fund the house purchase in your retirement savings account as well, Fax.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Olumide, hi, how you doing? Welcome, Olumide. We're doing this space, and what we've tagged it wealth, which is wealth building, which is around investment, then enterprise, which is entrepreneurship, IA for assets, that's personal finance, liability, which is debt, taxation, which is taxes, and of course horizon, which is our retirement goal. So we're trying to do a space once a week that will just touch around these issues of wealth, where we can talk investing, personal finance, debt, taxes, and all that. So Linda, what's up? What's on your mind? Olumide, can you hear me? Okay, Olumide is just trying to connect there. I also see you trying to connect. I'll get you back to you. So let me just go back again to the spaces. This is a good one. Someone says if I build a house and I receiving rents, I build a house I send money to Nigeria and I build a house and I'm receiving rent. What will be taxed? Am I paying tax on the house? No. This is a question again we get all the time. What is being taxed is income. So when you send money home to Nigeria, that's not income. It's not income to you. The person you are sending the money to, is it income to that person? It's for that person to identify if it's income to him, right? So if you are receiving money into your account, the government can say it is income. You have to be very, very clear what that money is coming to your house for. If the money is coming to your account and you're using that money to build a house, it's how you write it on your bank statement. Because if someone is sending you money from America, that's income coming to you. That's what the government will say. They will ask you to come and explain either through a best of judgment, or they will just apply a tax and say, we think you are making this income, hence we're going to tax you. So when you're receiving money to your account, the narration of what you're doing has to be very, very clear. Even when you get that money, how you're also using that money, also keep your receipts, also has to be very, very clear. Because if you commingle your personal and business account, you are exposing yourself to a tax write-off by the tax authorities. They don't know your business. So you've got to be very, very clear. Like we said in the last two spaces, if you are doing personal business and you're doing a private business, you have a public business, try to separate both of them. Do not mix your personal and your business in the same account. Even if you can't open up a business, have multiple accounts. The idea is not to commingle, so that you are spending more time explaining what these funds are. You want to make it very, very clear. So if you can have that account, and even if you can't open up a company, if you're not a builder, why are you receiving the money? This is what we talk about, behavioral changes that are going to happen in Nigeria because of this tax regime. If you're receiving money from abroad to build a house for someone, you've got to have to explain to the taxman why you are receiving money when you're not a builder. Okay, it's remittances. Okay, remittances to who? Is that remittance an income? These are all things you've got to change your behavior. Because the taxman is going to assume it's an income. It's you that has to prove it is not income, it's an inheritance, it's a gift, so and so. You have to prove. So these are the things we speak about. Olumide, what's up, man? Olumide, can you speak now? Okay, let's get Chuksi. Chuksi, how are you doing?
Hi, good evening now.
Hi, Chuksi, what's up?
Yeah, I'm just wondering on this tax stuff because it's getting a bit scary because most people in Nigeria, we do a lot of things with our accounts. People receive money to support people for burial, support weddings.
Yeah.
Some people are receiving money into their accounts for all this stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're saying any money that comes into your account is going to be, in quote, you have to start explaining it. So is it like we're going to need personal tax advisors in this kind of situation? Because even if you don't commingle, like you're saying, there are really lots of stuff that come into accounts. I mean, as we behave today, that this is a significant change from what we are doing. So I just wanted to know, because people doing, there are many small scale business people. They don't have tax advisors, and what comes into their account is from where they buy, they sell, and do everything. So I'm just wondering how it's going to work from 2026.
I mean, it's a great question, and this is the main question. Let me have you mute because it's an echo. If you don't mind, just mute. It's a great question because this is where I think there's a lot of gray areas. Even in America that has a developed tax account, if you receive monies in your account, every month you get 100,000, every month you get 100,000, your bank will issue you, depending on where that money is going to. When the money comes to your account, it's not a tax event. I'm not saying that once money comes to your account, it's a tax event. I'm saying that what you are doing by receiving money to your account is alerting the taxman that you are potentially a tax entity, that you can be taxed. So if the money is coming to your account or checking account, the bank is not paying you any interest. So you're not getting any income on that money that has come to your account, which is fine. But if that money comes to your account, and that money is essentially sitting and you are earning interest, then you are earning interest on that money and you're going to pay tax on the interest end. But the greater due diligence to do is to make sure you narrate properly and that you are separating personal business from non-personal business. If you in Nigeria, we sit down, someone sends money to us, sent to my mother in the village. You've got to ask yourself if it's worth it. I mean, if you're someone sending 100,000 to you, that's fine. The taxman is going to come after you for 100,000. But if you're getting 10 million into your account every month, it's hard to tell the taxman not to look at you and to then ask. Remember, they're not taxing the 10 million. They are using the 10 million to ask themselves questions. If this guy can receive 10 million, why is he paying income tax of 5,000? That's the point, Chike. So we're not asking. It's not the income per se that is taxed. In America, when you send money in, you get a 1099, which the bank sends to the IRS to show interest they've paid to you. So the IRS is not taxing your assets, they are taxing the income flow. And then if you're paying income of $1 million, but your tax filing is 100,000 or is $100, there's something not adding up there. You can't get $100 million in the bank and pay $100 from the tax guy. So is that non adding up that will cause the tax guy to say, let's audit you, and then when they audit you, stuff might come up. So it's just best practice, Chickens here. Separate things. This is the what we're talking about. What we're talking about. Separate things from separate things. Don't commingle. So that way it's easier for you. You will not get taxed, but separate things so it's easier for you. Yeah. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Not easy, but
not easy.
We'll have to find a way to do it.
Yeah, lots of folks have focused on the tax side. They haven't focused on the behavioral side that has to happen in Nigeria from 2026. Lots of people are going to pay more taxes, not because the tax rates have gone up, but because they haven't changed their behavior. Like I've said right now, if you don't go in January and start to buy retirement savings account, start to buy insurance, start to contribute to a housing fund, your tax is going to go up. Not because the tax rate went up, but because you did not take advantage of the deductibles. Currently today, the deductibles are automatic. From 2025, the deductibles will not be automatic. So it doesn't. You can't go on Twitter and say tax rates are lower, hence you will pay something lower. That's not how it works. If you don't take the deductible, you are going to pay a higher tax in 2026. Not because the tax rates are higher, but because there's no automatic deductible. Olumide, hi. Welcome in, Olumide.
Yeah, welcome, Carl. Thanks for having me. This was a bit. I'm trying to come on. So I just wanted to add a different dimension. You've done a lot of work in personal finance. I don't think anybody has covered the space like you do in Nigeria, and you've been doing this for many years. Actually, that's where a lot of people know you for. So well done. I think for me, I think the problem is our literacy level and interest, because all these things you've said so many times that even some of us that have a limited view on certain areas are already pros on it. That's to show you, because if you really follow these guys, particularly if you follow Carl, you follow Tosin, you follow guys that talk about personal finance, you really get to know these things. So I think the problem for audience that don't really understand many of these things is lack of interest and poor participation. Because I saw a poll you did recently. I got to see it in the morning when you tagged me and said with the response. I was kind of happy because it shows that your audience really are better informed. But I can bet it that if it was a larger audience where maybe a popular someone that has like 3-5 million followers did that poll, I think that percentage will be low. Because if you look at things that have been pushing out there, particularly on social media.
You are talking about the poll we asked people what they would do if they got money, if they would save, invest, or
talk about investment. Yes, that just shows that you really done so much in this space. Because I remember so many times when people really were very skeptical about investing, and the only problem we have about the investment culture, particularly for people that are really interested in finance, is because of limited disposable income. However, what you're talking about today, like tax, very, very important. And my advice is that, see, you have to follow these guys. It's not, you might not agree about their politics, but you see, you must have the ability to decide. You must have the ability to know when somebody is talking analysis or when somebody is speaking facts. And you also must be less emotional. Because you don't really align with somebody's political ideology does not mean it's not making sense. And because you don't really like the person does not mean it's not making sense. So I think people, particularly the audience, you really need to find time to discern, because that's the problem we're having in this space. A lot of people don't even understand the difference between facts and analysis. Like this tax thing, can you say, is really going to have major implications. Because particularly when I came to Europe, I had issues because, just like what Carlos said, I didn't know that when you send money, you must really tag narration. I didn't know that when you do businesses, even if it's if a company sends money to you, even if it's the tax authority will ask. I didn't know that even when you don't make income in a court, you must declare. I didn't know certain things, that even when you have businesses around the jurisdiction of where you are, you must still show some accountability. So, yeah, and how you get to know these things is by moving with people that really talk and align with investment banks or your tax consultants or whatever you want to do. So, Carl, yeah, well done. I just wanted to add the color that we really need to work on ourselves, particularly because all these things you have said it so many times, honestly. People listen, people read your book, you've done a book on it, you've done. So I think the culture here is that we need to change our behavioral pattern. We are too addicted to skits, we are too addicted to jokes, we are too addicted to trolling. We need to really define that we want to change our lives. Yes, the government play a role, but the charity begins at home. What are we doing with our own space? How many books are we reading? How many time are we spending on quality finance news? How many times are we also researching? How many times are we empowering ourselves? Because, see, government will always mess up. Yeah, we expect we get a better government at the end of the day, but you must be able to be receptive for you to have the ability to change your life. So yeah, well done, Kalu. And I just want to add one thing before I pass the mic. I think if you really don't know anything about personal finance, yes, this piece will help, but you will not get the whole picture. Carl has written a book that you can invest locally and foreign. You can buy the book. I think last time was less than $50. I don't know how much better Carl has increased it because of the valuation. But trust me, most of my friends that even are high-level financial professionals, they bought the book. And the reason is because, you see, one of the things you need to understand in finance is that nobody knows it all. We have niche, and we have people that really have had the experience. So you really need to, even if you are a PhD holder in finance, you really need to take your time and look at other people's view and perspective. And that's why finance, I love it, because finance has humbled so many people that think they are smart. The guy that won Black Nobel Prize in economics, he lost billions of dollars, even in the derivative market. This is someone that the black schools do. So I think we guys need to read. We need to spend time to read. So, Carlo, thanks for having me on this space. I just wanted to.
No, that was wonderful. Yeah, that was wonderful. Thanks so much for the shout out on the book. Like Olumide has said, Finance is not new. One of the best books you can read in the world on finance is a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's written in the themes of a man in Babylon centuries ago. But if you notice, the same things we're talking about today in Wall Street. Spend less than you make, invest the surplus, look for compounding interest. The same themes. We just make it now into the modern terms. And I did write a book. It's fantastic. I sold it at 18,000 naira, subsidized in Nigeria. Now it's all finished in Nigeria. We did 3 prints, completely sold out, right? So it's now on Amazon. When I try to plug my book, it looks like I'm being commercial, but guys, do get it. I wrote it specific for the Nigerian market. It's designed for the language I use, the pictures I use, the thinking is designed for you. Like if you don't know anything about finance, it's step by step. You can read the chapters step by step, and you just learn that chapter. You don't have to read it cover to cover. It's designed. I want to learn about crypto. I read that part. I don't know how to invest in, and it's practical. I'm not telling you motivational. I'm telling you want to buy ETF. This ETF is where you buy it from. You want to invest in IT. This is the IT one you go to. You want to do asset allocation. This is how you do it, step by step, and all that. So it's good to get and to get all that knowledge in, guys. Winnie, hi, Winnie, how you doing? Glad to see you here again.
Hello, Kalu. Good evening.
Good evening,
from
ma'am.
Nigeria.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I have a question about tax. I want to apologize because I did not read the whole law. Did you, law? So that's why I'm asking. Yeah.
No one has read
So
it.
for civil servants, as you said, they do all these things for you. Like I'm in the state civil, so it's automatic. Even for your health insurance, your national housing fund, they just do it for you. So like, let's say when you get your pay slip, you see your gross pay, you see your net is what you see in your account. So what I want to find out is that, are you saying that with the new law that it all stops and we have to now do it individually? Because I think maybe some people in civil service might be nonchalant because they're like, exactly. I am also like that. I'm like, the government takes care of it. That's their problem. Like, exactly. If you take it, fine. If you don't take it, well, I'm better off. So now what I want to know is that from next year, I think I'm assuming they should continue. Or are you saying we should individually now have to go and have to take care of these things?
Let me do it this way, right? If you look at the tax law that has been passed today on paper by the numbers and the percentages, your taxes, if you earn less than 1.45 per month, it's going down. 1.45 is a magic number. If you earn 1.45, that's about 17 million, right? Someone can do that for me. 1.45 multiplied by 12. Once you earn less than 1.45 million, your tax is going to go down, automatic. But look at what I'm saying. So this is the percentage and the number, right? So if you earn less than 1.45, your taxes go down. If you earn above 1.45, your taxes are going to go up. But hear what I'm saying, Winnie. The old scheme, the scheme you are in right now, once the government pays you 1 million, if they pay you this 1.45 in the old scheme, the government would automatically apply 20% to that 1.45, and that's your tax savings. So when you get you've already paid, because the 1.45 already has an automatic 20% there, plus an extra 200,000. From January 2026, there is no automatic. So your employer, if you do pension RSA, you are paying 8%, your employer is paying 10%. That 18 will still happen automatically. But what if you buy health insurance? If you or your husband buy health insurance, how will your employer know? You've got to go and tell your employer, I have bought health insurance, so they can remove that money, the premiums, from your taxable income, so that your taxes go down. The same thing if you are paying rent. How will your employer know you are paying rent? You have to tell them or file so that the 500,000 benefit comes to you. If you do nothing and say the government has said, if I earn 1.45 million, my tax is going to go down, you will be shocked. That's the point I'm making. Because you have to go out and do this. If you don't do any deductions, if you say, oh, I am not going to do any RSA, I'm not going to do any whatever, then fine. Once you earn below 1.45, don't worry about anything. Go to sleep, you are fine. Your tax will still go down because what they've done is that they've increased the percentage amount that you have to earn before you get tax. Does that make sense, Winnie? I'm not talking about the tax rate now. You have to go out because they are giving you rent, they are giving you RSA, they are giving you mortgage. How would your employer know you bought a mortgage? You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so this I would do this with the tax people.
You can do it correct. You can do it with them and your employer, or 100% with your employer.
Okay.
If your employer says, if you buy life insurance, tell me, I will take away from your taxes. Fantastic. That means in your HR, you say, hey, HR, I bought RSA, not just the 18%. I did additional voluntary contribution. You tell them. They remove it from your income, which reduces your taxable income. You say, hey, I paid for rent for 400,000. You tell your employer, it reduces your amount. You say, hey, I bought life insurance. You tell your employer, it takes down your taxable income. If they don't do it in your employer, then you have to go and file a self-assessment. You then say, oh, self-assessment, my employer has taken my 18%. I'm fine that I paid rent. I bought insurance. Because if you don't do that, those benefits, the deductions won't kick in. That's the point. That's why many people are going to be shocked. They're going to say, but Mr. Taiwo said if I earn less than 800,000, I will not pay any tax. Only those people are exempt. Whether they file, they don't file. Once you earn below 800,000, you are exempt. But when you earn that 1.45, it assuming that you have, your taxes are going to go down on paper, but you've got to go and claim the deduction. Makes sense, really?
Yes, but just to round up, I feel like, as I said, in civil service, I feel the government should do more. I feel they should inform, because if I didn't take the pain to listen, I wouldn't know some of. So I feel it would be chaotic when they start deducting, and then the deductions will appear in 2027, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, it's going to be all we're doing 2026 is going to be 2027. So
so they are supposed to tell people and tell them, okay, come and give us this information because let's say in government they have a Ministry of Finance and all this thing happens there. So they're supposed to tell them, oh, maybe this person meets this person if you're from this agency or department or ministry. But no, we're not seeing anything. So it will just, fingers crossed.
These are welcome. When they pass a law, there are always guidelines. So these guidelines are things that the ministry will then say, because they have passed a new law, we want to pass this guideline. They're going to say, this is how you file your taxes. That's what they haven't said. So if you go on social media, all you see is tax rates, taxes, will I pay tax on this? And I'm saying in Lume, that's also confirmed. Many people are going to be shocked in 2027 when they pay tax for 2026 income because they didn't file. Because the way they've said is that once you earn 800,000, you don't pay any tax. Only those folks are exempt. So if you earn less than 800,000 naira a year, go to sleep. Just log off the space, you are fine. But once you start to earn above that amount, you start to go to 1.45 million. That's at 1.45 million, your tax is automatically going down. But if you don't do anything, how will they know that you've taken those deductions? How will they know? That's the point I'm making. Overthinker. Friends, how are you doing, Overthinker? Winnie, thank you so much.
Yeah, Carly, good evening.
How you doing?
And Chilu, thank you for this space. I mean, it's an educative one, and I'm quite learning a lot from it. So what I just want to ask is, I don't know, this tax deduction here, is it per account based or probably per PVN based? Because what I'm confused is because many of us here have multiple accounts. So we might receive large, probably one is our income account. The other accounts are probably for bills. Probably one account has the card that can do your subscriptions and all. Okay, then you receive your income via that your main account. then you spread it across probably your 3 other accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is savings account, this one is everyday spending account, this one is international transaction account, and all of that. So I wanted to know, is it deduction per BVN or per account? Because if it's per account, meaning my main account would have gotten taxed, and if I move money to that account, it also get taxed and all and all. So that's the clarity I kind of needed. Then also, I think when you asked the question I wanted to ask, if our organization are going to do this deduction for us, or we are the ones that are going to do it. So, for installation, I think that bit is clear. So what I just don't know is if it's going to be account based.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question, man. Great question. So for the second one, like you said, you have to talk to your organization. If they can still file for you and have a mechanism where you can load in your deductions and they file for you, fantastic. If you have to go and file yourself, fantastic. The point is, don't assume, don't wait and see because Mr. Taiwo said the tax rates are lower, your tax will be lower. No, you've got to take action. That's the second question. To your first question, you are taxed per tax ID, i.e. per person. So I think in Nigeria, your NIN is your tax ID. Your BVN just shows your how many bank accounts. It ties all your bank accounts to one account, but it's not a tax ID per se. I believe your NIN, correct me if I'm wrong, your NIN should be your tax ID because that's what you are taxed on, the individual, not the bank accounts. So Dangote as a person is paying taxes as a person, not based on, probably has 100 million bank accounts. So he's going to pay tax as a person. Dangote, he will pay tax. So for you, what it means is that even if you have 100 bank accounts, all those bank accounts are earning you either income or are earning you deductions. So if you file as an individual, it's simple. You have your tax table from Mr. Taiwo. You look at the income you have made. You take away your deductions. Whatever you have left, situate yourself on a table on a waterfall base and then you pay that tax. Simple. If you have a company, that's when you want to hire someone because you are now going to file your expenses, your depreciation, all those, your VAT clawbacks, all those are going to be in the company side. That one is a bit more complicated. Get an accountant, but you pay tax on the person. Remember, you are not your company. So if you have a company and your company is doing business, your company is paying you salary. Your company will take a deduction on the salary it has paid you as the owner of that company. When you receive a salary from your company, you will quote that salary as your own income on your own personal tax filing. So it's all connected. You, Mr. Kalu, does hustling. Kalu then gets a check of ₦1 million. I pay to Kalu Limited. Kalu Limited will now pay Kalu 100,000. Kalu Limited has got income of 1 million. That check I paid into Kalu Limited. What's my deduction? Expenses for salaries are a deduction. So what is Kalu Limited's taxable income is now 900,000 because I've removed the income I took as salary as my income. So Kalu Limited will pay 900,000. What about me? That 100,000 is now my own income, which I now have to go and file according to the personal income table and deductions. So does that make sense? Olumide, go ahead.
I think
I appreciate that.
I think you have to do an illustration like maybe Zoom or something because I can bet a lot of people don't understand it. And you know why I feel like this formula is a bit complex for the average Nigerian. So, for example, what you said practically is this app in Europe. It does all these things. So I have a small business and I'm also an employee. How you spell it out is how I just do. So what I just do is I fill in everything and the calculator just brings everything and this is what you're supposed to pay, blah blah blah, and everything. And you tell okay, this is what is social contribution, your pension, and this and it is done. But you see, apart from the personal calculator we don't have things like that it should be like configured maybe in a bank account or something that where people can really, like an app where people can make their social contribution directly because a lot of people truly I don't have the figures, but I think at least 2/3 of the Nigerian economy people that work are in the informal sector. So it means that they have to directly file for most of these things. So my fear is that a lot of people make mistakes. That one is unavoidable. But I think it's also going to create wealth, particularly those that can create apps.
Correct.
Can
You got it.
Put in, because Nigerians don't like stress. As Carl was saying, I understood it because I worked with it, but I can imagine the average person that really doesn't understand all this structure. So I think, Carl, I think please, I have to get an illustration.
You know, again, if you go, I'm not critical anymore, but if you go on social media, no one is talking about the behavioral change. This tax filing thing we're going to have in 2026 is a behavioral change issue. It has nothing to do with numbers and taxes. The tax part is the easiest part to understand. You get 1 million, there's already a tax table. Put that tax table, they tell your tax. End of story. What's going to happen is that many people are going to say, I go to shop for my mother. My mother lives in the village. She sends me money. I go and buy her things in Lagos. I send back to her in the village. That person is going to get a tax. And I'm going to say, it's not my money, my mother's money. The tax will say, how is your mother's money? It's in your account. Those things are what we are not really focusing on the tax debate. Mr. Taiwo has done his own. He has passed the bills. He has raised the tax rates. But that's not the issue. Look at this whole employer thing. How many employers have explained to their people that, listen, if you pay rent, you have to file that rent. You can't. It's not automatic. If you don't file that 500K, you don't get it. You don't get it. But nobody's saying that. Then they're going to say, well, Mr. Taiwo said I could get 500,000 rent. You've got to go and file it, guys. You've got to. If you don't file it, it's not going to come. There's a guy I saw that built a very, very good app. I'm going to try to get him, maybe bring him back here.
I'm going to buy the Federal Inland Revenue Service. I don't know. I was expecting that by now they should have pumped so much money on financial literacy, like so much pro stocks now, because
I saw, and I'm just very, very clear. The FIRS did a session with influencers. Most of the guys I saw there were the political influencers. If you bring in, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. If you bring in the people that are talking about the President Tinubu's policy and agenda, and you bring them to a space to talk, people will tune off because they think they are selling Mr. Tinubu. They're selling politics. You've got to go and get people. Olumide is here. Taiwo is here. Shola is there. These are all people who have been doing personal finance for ages. Bring them in. Tosin is there. Bring them in, and then when you empower them, they can talk to their people on a money basis. But if you bring in a guy that's been talking about Tinubu's roads, Tinubu's airport, and you say you should talk about Tinubu's tax, people are going to tune off. I'm not saying to the FIRS, you've got to do more. People don't really understand this. You can see the questions are getting here.
I think they don't call you on the PR stuff,
because it's all politics, not a money thing. All right, let's go to the...
Just like you said, I'm not even aware of the program that they were empowering influencers.
Yeah, they did something. I can share with you.
Yeah, there are so many people that really can even within their party that speak particularly about personal finance, and it will make a lot of sense. So I think they need to work on that because there should be a budget for that. And also, Kalu, I have an issue with the fact that next year we're just 3 months away, and still the talk on tax, particularly on social media, is still low. I don't know if it's not a problem, but I think it's a problem because January, I think we're just 3 months away, and I think that January is too short for a lot of people to plan. When festive season comes in and all these things, I think it's very important for people to really understand these things. And lastly, I also think that people think that they can still be crypto. It's so unfortunate that they are.
That's the easiest one to try.
For example, I can tell you that for free that the Europeans have been able to, in fact, they've been able to block almost all aspect of crypto anonymity, even DEX and everything, because they use 3 formulas first. Even those that use privacy coins like Monero and Cash, there's a way they know how to catch those people. Then the USDT is not allowed in Europe. We can only use USDC. It's not MiCA compliant. So, and what Taiwo really was talking about, I knew that it was going to come to pass because, he spoke about the crypto market is not excluded. people also need to understand that if you are not transacting anything beyond 150 million naira a year, or you have a income of 10 million naira per annum, you have nothing to fear about. But we have many rich guys in crypto that will show that they have $600,000 income, and they have something to worry about. And I think he also mentioned that if you don't declare and they find out, because by law they can ask a crypto exchange to show their citizens' financial position in that account. So if you don't declare and they find out, they will take the deduction and you pay a fine.
All right.
So I just wanted to add that.
Perfect. Abigail, let's get you in. Abigail, your hand is up. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, Linda?
I think he's having network issues because I got a notification on my phone.
Oh, wow.
I can hear you. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, so Abigail, so you can talk before Carl comes. Yeah, you can. I think you put you on Abigail.
I'm off my space.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I actually requested for my by mistake. I don't know, this is the first time I'm joining Carlos space. Hey, and it sounds like a lot. I mean, as regards to the tax topic, I actually joined this space because I saw talking about wealth, personal finance. I was like, okay, this is something I would like to keep track on, and I'm hearing the tax topic now, and I'm like, what? Wow, yay! But it's really yay because I am far behind on updates and any information about this. So I don't know if he's listening or anyone on the speaker room could help. I don't know what is the roadmap for getting up to date, for knowing all the necessaries.
The internet is bad here. Wish I was gone. See, the internet is bad. Yeah.
Like there's no internet.